welcome back to the channel. So recently I had someone leave a comment on my video asking if I could do a video coloring a page out of my Tiny Forest coloring book by Stajner. So that's what we're going to do today. And the page that I have picked is this one here, which I love this page. It is so cute. We've got 3 friends sitting here enjoying some tea together. And it's a very spring-like page to me. Now, I adore this book. This is in no way me being negative about the book at all. My absolute favorite season is autumn, and we all know my favorite holiday is Halloween. So, in no way whatsoever is this a negative thing in my mind. But, and hopefully you won't see it that way either. However, I do feel like most of these images in this book are images that would be amazing for fall, because they have leaves falling in almost all of the images. Now, there are some that don't have the leaves falling, and you know, they'll be great for any other season that you want to use it, you know, color it in. But for me, a lot of these would be great for fall, and that's perfect for me because that's my favorite season. So we will be doing a whole lot more out of this book when it gets closer to fall and winter time. But I feel like this page, even though there is one leaf here that's falling, and we're going to do that green, but this page is very spring-like for me. We have daffodils, we have, you know, butterflies, we have other flowers and things and birds, and it just feels very spring-like to me. So we are going to do this today, and I'm going to use the Spear Farben colored pencils, or more, as they're more affectionately known on my channel, the Shrimpy Furbies. Just because I have a hard time saying the Spear Farben, and that is probably not the way that they're pronounced, but that's just how I'm able to say them. So, yeah. We will get started. I do have color combinations picked out, but before we start actually coloring, we are going to do the sky, the background on this. And we're going to use a stencil and some gel crayons. I have a couple of the King Arts picked out here, and we have cobalt blue and aqua blue from the King Art set. Now, if you don't have the King Art gel crayons, any colors of blue that you like out of any other gel crayons that would work, or if you don't have gel crayons but you have gelatos, that would work too. Just pick a couple shades of blue that you like. And we have this cloud stencil that we're going to use. And I have my trusty palette to the side. This is just a clear acrylic palette. Or, yeah. And I have my case of Spear Farbens. I'm going to set this to the side. This is the case they're in. I'm going to move that over so that we can start with the background. So, let's do that. Okay, so now this stencil, I love this stencil. It's one of my favorite ones I have. It's from My Favorite Things on Amazon, and I will try to link this in the description box below. I'm not an affiliate at all, so it'll just be there strictly to help you find it if you're interested in it. I do have 2 different cloud stencils from My Favorite Things, but this one I believe is my favorite out of the 2. It has more of a variety with the way the different sides look. So turning it as you do it will get you some different effects. I really like this one. The other one that I have, let me see if I can find it real fast. I have my stencils over here in this little envelope thing. And this thing just came from the Dollar Tree, and I have all my stencils in here. Almost all of my stencils. Yeah. So this is my other cloud stencil from My Favorite Things. And they sell these on Amazon. But this one, as you maybe can tell, the sides aren't that different. That's why this one here is more my favorite, because the sides are more varied and you can definitely get a different effect just turning your stencil to each different side. So I like using this one more, but I do use this one too sometimes. And honestly, you could use the two of these together. This one has smaller, I don't know if you can see, smaller, what would you call that? Scalloped edges, I guess. Then this one, they're a little bigger, a little wider than this one. So, I mean, you could definitely layer these and use these together, and that would get you in another different effect even doing that. But we're just going to stick with the one today. So, let me clear this out of the way and we'll get started. Sorry for the rambling and everything. But I will try to link both of those in the description box. I have quite a few stencils from My Favorite Things. I love their stencils. I think they're really good and really useful. And I have my brushes here. Excuse me. We have the 3 different sizes. I'm not sure. I don't believe we'll use all of them. Most of the time I use either the smallest or the medium size more than I do the large. The large I mainly use if there's a big wide open area. But, you know, that's just personal preference. So, I'm going to swatch these out on my palette. Like I know you all have seen me do this probably a dozen times or more. Sorry. But for anyone that's new to the channel, I'll go ahead and redo this. So I just rubbed this across my palette. Now, a lot of people like to use the Caran d'Ache palette, and that's fine if you have one. But this one works perfectly fine. And honestly, before I even got this, what I started out using with my gelatos, before I even got my gel crayons, because when I ordered my gel crayons, I also got the palettes. So from the time I got those, I've been pretty much just using the palette. But if you don't have the palettes, I do know that a lot of us, if not most of us, in the coloring community have these plastic cutting mats that come from the Dollar Tree that we were using behind our pages for a long time. A lot of people probably still do. I do occasionally. A lot of times I just use paper, but sometimes I use these. But point being, before I got my palette, this was all I had, and this is what I used, and this works just as good as these palettes. So you don't need, if you have this, you really don't need to go buy a palette, a special palette for this, unless you just want to. If you want to, that's, of course, by all means, go for it. But you don't have to. This works just as good. And like I say, that's what I started with. I started using that with the gelatos, and it works with the gel crayons. I've used it with those also. It does work really good with both. So I'm just going to apply some of both of these colors, and all you do is you just scribble back and forth on your palette. And I don't worry about these crumbs here, if you can even see that. Let me lift this up. See how there's some crumbs here? I don't worry about that. You can either use your brush to break that up on the palette, which is normally what I do, or you know, you can try to disguise it as you're blending it in on the page, but if you get a crumb on your brush, it is likely to leave streaks. I will tell you that much. So if you have those, you're probably either going to want to avoid them or break them up on your palette before you put them on the page. So I'm going to move this to the side, get my stencil. Let's see. I want this side here first. I'm going to start with my lightest color. Oh, and if I didn't tell you, I don't think I did. The two colors I had picked out of the King Art set is the cobalt blue and the aqua blue. The cobalt blue is your darkest color, and the aqua blue is the lightest. So I'm going to start with the aqua blue. I'm using my medium-sized brush. And I'm just going to start going around here. I'm not worrying about what's on the page, because as long as you don't let it sit for like 24 hours or longer, you can go in and erase anything that it has covered. And even if you're not able to erase it, or if you're not able to erase it completely, you can always color over that with your colored pencils, and it colors over it just fine. No problems whatsoever. I've never had an issue with that. So we're just going to go along the edge of the stencil, and I do go, okay, I just got it out of line just a little. Okay, so I start a little on the stencil and then work my way out from there, just like that. And like I said, I don't worry about the image, because I know that I can go in and I can erase that. So then I just move my stencil, because it doesn't go all the way to the edge, and start again. And I'll show you how easy it erases here in just a moment, when we get this filled in. And I do apologize, because I am trying to lose my voice. I'm trying to get sick. Unfortunately, my son has been sick, and you know how that is. Your babies are sick, you still gotta love on them, so you tend to get sick also. So I'm trying to get sick again, but yeah. So I may start sounding a little hoarse during the course of this video, but if so, I apologize. So I just move it around like this, kind of however I think it'll look good, and line it up, and then go over it with my brush. And this is still my lightest color. Now when I get the next layer I go to do, I will do my darkest color. If you've ever looked at the sky, the part that's furthest from you tends to be sorry. If you ever look at the sky, like straight up looks about the darkest, and then the more it gets towards the horizon line, the lighter it looks. So that's part of why I do it this way. And of course you can do it whichever way you like, or whichever way looks best to your eye. So we have this here. I'm gonna go over this because I don't like that, because that's where I moved the stencil by accident. So I'm gonna try to fill that in. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick up my darkest color, and I'm going to move to a different section of the stencil. And we'll just do it like that. And again, I'm going over the stencil and then out from there. Just like that. Let's see, how do I want this to go? Kind of like that, I think. And then kind of like that. I'll come over here, just like that. Like that. And then you can fill in the rest with that blue for the sky. Or however, or you could do another layer of clouds if you want to up in there. But I'm just going to fill this in with that darkest color. Just kind of like that. And work that in. It's not perfect, but I'm okay. I'm okay with how it looks. I'm okay with that. And now I'll show you about erasing it. So let's see. And where I put my Tombow, I got it over here. So we're using it. Yeah. So I throw everything towards the camera. Okay. 1 second. There it is. So I have my Tombow, and I also have my electric eraser. Now mine is just the Amazon Basics electric eraser. It came with a lot of refills. I don't remember exactly how many, but at the time that I purchased it, it was only like $6. I'm not sure if it's even still available. Uh-oh. Apparently my battery is dead. Let's see. What does this take? Throw stuff around. I don't think I have any of these at the moment, so I'll have to get some more. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Close this back up and I'll set it to the side. And then that's the only downfall to that eraser is it is battery powered. So, but so I have my Tombow Mono Zero, and I also have just a white soft rubber eraser. These are, other than the Tombow and my electric, these are my favorite, are the white, just the white rubber erasers. These work really, really good to pick up, well, just about anything, honestly. Colored pencil, gel crayon, any of that, it works really nicely for big areas. Now, if it's a really tiny area, that big old eraser is going to be hard to get in there. I mean, it just is. I'm not going to try to lie to you about that. It's going to be difficult. But anything that's a bigger space, like all this along the edge where I went over the edge, we can do with that eraser. So, and that's what we'll do. Just trying to get what I can here with my Tombow. And beforehand with these, you'll just want to make sure that there's not any residual color from anything else you've erased before you try to use it on here. Because if so, you may end up smearing that color in an area you don't want it. So, that's the only thing. You will want to be careful of that. And like I said, if you were to do this background and then leave it sit and come back to it 24 hours later or longer, you're not going to be able to get this erased. You might be able to get a little bit off, but it's not going to be much. But also, on that same note, colored pencil goes over top of gel crayon super duper easy. So even if you don't get it erased right away, doesn't mean that the picture is ruined. By no means whatsoever. Because colored pencil will go over top of it pretty easily. I'm going to move that for now. We're going to try to get all this off around these edges. Another thing that I do sometimes, if I can't get all the gel crayon off of there, and it's along the border, I'll like line the border with washi tape. It's a good way to disguise it. Should that be an issue. But most of the colors will erase no problem. you know, the darker the color, the harder it's going to be. But for the most part, you can get all of that to come off pretty cleanly without an issue. So, there we go. Now, for the most part, that is good. I will call that good. And we'll move on. There's a couple spots where it still left some pigment. But, again, I'm not concerned. I can add washi tape to the border or something along those lines to make sure that that doesn't show. Okay, so I'm going to pause here, figure out where we're going to start next, and I'll be back with our colors and we'll get started. See you in a second. Alright, so I'm back. I pulled some of the colors. I pulled the colors for the grass and made me a salted caramel chai tea latte in the meantime. So I'm all set and ready to go. So we're going to zoom in and color some grass. And I'll probably just color maybe a couple small sections of the grass, and then I'll do the rest off camera. And we'll come back and move on. So, yeah. Let me zoom you in. Ooh, 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 ooh. And we'll get going. Okay, hang on 1 second. Move you around here. Okay. So we're probably going to start up in here. Scoop my latte just a little, so I'm going to wipe that up. Don't want none of that getting on my book. I know I had it a little bit fuller than I like, but that's okay. So let me slide this. Let me slide some things around. I was not as prepared as I thought I was, but you know, that's how it goes here at DJ's Colorful Escape. I'm never as prepared as I think. Okay, so make sure you can see. We're gonna go in between Mr. Owl and the bunny here, and we're gonna do this little section of grass in here, and then we'll see. We may do another smaller section of grass before I pause and finish off camera. So now the colors I have are cypress tree, olive green, and pickle. These colors here on the swatch card. Okay, I'm gonna start with my cypress tree, and there's some blades here that the artist has drawn in, so I'm gonna go kind of around and behind these with my darkest color and put some shading in there, and then feather it out kind of like that, just like that. And then along this line, I'm gonna put a little bit of this cypress, just kind of like that. Just kind of zigzag motion, kind of like that. Not leave too harsh of an edge though. Go back in and kind of feather that edge out just a little. And then around some of this in here that's sitting on the grass, I'll add some of the cypress. You know, just a little, real lightly, just kind of like that. So do that kind of like that there, and along the owl here, just a little bit, not enough to even really see it, but it's there. And then we're going to go in with our olive green. we're going to go over top of what we did. We're going to extend it out and leave a feathered edge. Kind of like that. And we're going to go along everywhere where we put that and extend it a little bit. Excuse me. Like I said, I am trying to lose my voice, so I apologize. But hopefully I can get through the video without it being too distracting. So. Okay. Just like that. And like I said, it's really light pressure, just barely grazing the page here. You know. So now we're going to take our lightest color, which is Pickle, and we're going to go over all of that, kind of medium to heavy pressure, and then we're going to blend out from there. Now you could always, if you are the type of person who enjoys flicking, you could definitely flick in some more blades of grass. I'm honestly not good at flicking, so I don't tend to do that for fur or anything. So, but by all means, if that's your forte and you like that, you enjoy it, and you like how it looks when it's done, go for it. You know, it's just not my strong suit. So we're just gonna basically color this in. And I still think the way that I color this in, that you get a pretty good effect, even though I'm not flicking. I'm doing that flicking motion. I do still have, excuse me, I apologize. I do still have some white spot. So, I am going to grab, uh-oh, I ran over the line there, so let me erase that real quick. But, I am going to grab, if I can find one. Has been stuck everywhere. Don't see one offhand. Give me 1 second. I know I have one somewhere. Yep, right here. My Caran d'Ache full blender. What I like to use the most for a blender. So I'm going to go over all of this with this Caran d'Ache blender in kind of circular or oval like motions. It will get rid of that white spot. A lot of times it does brighten it. It doesn't really dull it down like using a white would. Which for certain pencils I do enjoy blending with white. Some I blend with the Caran d'Ache. And some I strictly only use the lighter shades in the set to do all my blending. But yeah, I do like my Caran d'Ache blender. And I use it for most sets of pencils if I'm going to use a blender. I don't always use a blender, but when I do, this is usually the one I go for. Okay, so there is our grass. Zoom you out. You can kind of see how that looks. Now, that's how I'm going to do the rest of the grass, and I will probably go off camera and do the rest of that. And then I will come back and we'll move on to our next part. See you in a bit. Okay, so I went ahead and finished up all of the grass. And now we are going to start on something else, probably the flowers. Give me 1 second. Okay, I've got the colors pulled and I'll zoom you in. We're gonna do these daffodils. Sorry for all of the adjusting. Just trying to move this around so that you can see pretty well. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to start with maple, which is our darkest color. I'm going to do this daffodil right here. And I'm going to go around this edge. And then blend that out. Feather it out. And where it meets the center, these petals meet the center. And then feather it out for all of these. Kind of like that. Okay. And then right here in the middle, and feather it out. Okay. Now I'm going to go over that with vanilla flower. And do the same thing. Okay. Just like that. And lastly, bumblebee. And with that one, we'll go over everything and finish filling it in. Just like that. And that's how I'm going to do all of the rest of the daffodils. Okay, let's make sure you can see. Oops. Sorry, 1 second. Knocking things around here. Alright, so I'm going to do this one here as well. I'm going to put that back where you can see it. Okay, so we'll do this one here together also, and then again I'll pause, go off camera, and do the rest on my own. So, again, I'm just kind of putting this where the petals meet the center, but kind of changing it up just a little on each petal where the darkest color is. Just a little, not a lot. Just give it a little bit of variation. And lastly, with our bumblebee. Just like that. And you can always go back in with your darkest color, which is our maple. If you feel like your darkest areas aren't dark enough, and deepen those up just a little bit more. As long as you haven't fully burnished the page, that is. Alright, so just like that. Alright, so again, I will pause and I will finish all the dandelions off camera. And then we'll come back and we'll do something else. See you in a sec. Alright, I'm back. I've got all the dandelions colored. I'm sorry. Yeah. Daffodils. Sorry. Anyway, I've got all of those colored. Whew. And so now we're going to start with some other elements on the page. So I think we'll start with our teapot and our teacups next. And for those, we're going to use this combination here. I'm going to zoom you back in. And I'll show you the teapot and one of the teacups. And then we'll do the other two teacups off camera. And I'll do them the same way. But, so I'm going to start, I'm going to start with my Cocolitos swatter. And I'm just going to do a light base layer over the whole thing. Except for the detail, the little design. I'm going to leave that. We'll either do that with other colored pencils or with some glitter gel pen. I haven't quite decided yet. Okay, so there's that. And then we'll take our deep ocean. And anywhere where we think it would be a little darker, or we think we might have a shadow, we will put this deep ocean. Just kind of around the edges, try to make it look more rounded. And then along here. And I'm gonna take my Cocolitos swatter again. Just do the light base coat over the lid. And take the deep ocean and go along the top, the sides. Like that. Now we'll take our turquoise, go over that and extend it out a little. Just like that. And then lastly, and oh, don't forget the lid. And then lastly, our Cocolitos swatter over everything. Blending that together. And filling in the rest of the white spot. Trying our best not to go over the flower. Just like that. Go back in with our deep ocean and deepen up our shadows. And anywhere where you think that might be too much or too harsh, you can always go over again with your next color. And blend it out a little more. Or go over it with your lightest. Just like that. There we go. So there is our, well, the majority of our teapot. We just have some little design elements on there. So I'm gonna take, let me think for 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna take this combination here. And I am going to do my best to do this little flower right here with this combination. Just like that. And then the base down here, just right there, go down. And just like that. And see what I have close to me. And see what this looks like. Yeah, kind of. Okay, so I'm going to take my Tan Mint Glitter Black Purple, and I'm just going to fill in these little scallops and the little knob on the little ball on top. With that, give it just a little sparkle, not a lot, just a little. Sometimes a little is enough. Okay, and then we're gonna go and do our teacup again with the same color combination as our teapot. And actually, yeah, let me have this Cocolitos water. On the Amazon paper, these seem to do best when you put the light base layer down first. Okay, and then we'll take our darkest color and put our shadows in. And then that with our turquoise. And lastly, our Cocolitos water. Blend that all together, just like that. And we'll take our purple gel pen and do our little scalloped edges so that it matches our tea kettle. And that's how I'm going to do the other two as well. We have this little critter is holding one, and we got one laying over in the grass. Zoom out a little, over in the grass over here. So I'll do those when I go off camera. Next, we're going to do our plate right there. And I'm going to use this purple combination again that we used on our teapot and our cup. Well, on our teapot, yeah. Our cup was only gel pen. So I'm going to take, no I'm not. I'm going to take our pale purple and do a light base layer over all of this area in here. Okay, and then I'll take our deep purple and put some in here and along the very edge. And then you're going to want to put, oh, excuse me. I'm going to put a little bit of the deep purple also underneath of anything that's laying on this plate as well, just a little. And down here. Okay. And then go over that with the Tyrian purple and blend that out. And then lastly, go over everything with our pale purple again. And blend them colors together. and fill in the tooth of the paper. Just like that. So our saucer matches our tea kettle. And I got a little bit of purple on the bird, so I'm gonna erase that. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is, let's see, what do I want to do next? I think we'll do the birdie since we're zoomed into the perfect area for us to do the birds. We're gonna do both birds with this color combination. Let me slide this over a little. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna take the lightest color, the Blue Lagoon. Again, do light base layer over the whole bird. And then take our darkest color, the Prussian Blue, put a little under the wing and around the body. And then where each one of these little bits of the wing are. Okay, and then up here where the tail meets the body and fade up. Just like that. Go over that with cerulean. And lastly, the Blue Lagoon. Again, to blend everything together and fill in all the white spot. Like that. And I'm going to go back with the Prussian Blue and deepen up our shadow areas. Our shaded areas here. A little bit. Just like that. A little bit in the grass. There we go. So, and I'm gonna do our other bird down here, well, you can't see, I'm zoomed in too much. Our other little birdie over here the same way, and I'll do that when I go off camera. Alright, so next, let's see. So move these out of the way. I'm going to grab, I'm going to zoom back out a little just to readjust, and I apologize for all the readjusting. There you go. So now maybe when I zoom in, you'll still be able to see. Yeah. So there's a couple little flowers down here at the bottom that are different. There's one here and one on the far side to the right. So I'm going to use this color combination right here. Let's see here. I'm going to lay that there and you'll see it. Okay, so that one there. So I'm going to take the pale purple. Again, just a light base layer. Just wanted another color besides just the yellow and that we did on the daffodils. So I'm going to do this combination on these couple of flowers. And we'll put this in a couple other areas on the page also. This is one of my favorite combinations with this set. Absolutely love it. Okay, so now that we did the flower, we're gonna do this little critter's apron with this. I'm not gonna worry about the polka dots. We'll do that with a gel pen at a later time. So, let's see. Okay, slide that over. All right. So again, pale purple over the whole thing, right? Okay, and then our royal purple, go under her arm, and maybe around the outside just a little bit, not much. And then we'll go over all that with our rose luster. Leaving some area for our lightest color, which is our pale purple. And with that, we're just gonna fill all the rest of that in. Okay. And for the tie, we'll start here with the royal purple. From the two outside edges in, and on the loops of the bow we're going to do the same thing on each edge of the loop, and on the ties on each side. Then with the rose luster, go over that and extend it, and then with the pale purple, go over the whole thing. Blend it in. All right. So there's that one. And then this little bunny's bow over here. The camera, sorry about the movement. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing for the bow. Oops, let's take a pale purple first. Okay, and then we'll go with the royal purple. Again, at the edges, working in. And I really should sharpen my pencil, but just gonna go with it. Then we'll go over that with our rose luster. And lastly, our pale purple. Okay. So there's her bow. Oh, and we're also going to use it on the little flowers in the little base down here. So again with the pale purple. Okay. Blend up. Just like that. All right, and let's see. All right, I think I'm gonna pause here and finish the other teacups and pull some more of the pencils, and I'll be back and we'll get this going. We're pretty close to being done. So see you in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more combo. This is the combo I'm going to use for the leaves for all of the Daffodils. And it is Golf Course Lemon Green, and Lime. So, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do one, and then I'm going to go off camera and finish, or I will finish after I go off camera doing the rest of those. But this, after we do this, I think I'm going to call it for this, and I'll just have to do 2 parts because we're already right at around an hour-ish. And honestly, I don't seem to have a whole lot of luck with uploading videos over 30 minutes. So I did not realize how long this was taking. So we'll just do it in 2 parts, and I'll try to finish filming it right after this so that I can have them come out pretty close to each other so that you're not waiting. But yeah, we'll upload this in 2 parts. So real quickly, just a light base layer over all of these leaves with the lime. And then, excuse me while I sharpen this pencil. These leaves are kind of skinny. So I'm going to take the Golf Course and just at the base of the leaf, and then blend up just like that. And that's how I'm going to do all of these. And then go over that. With the lemon green. And extend it. And then lastly, take the lime over the whole thing and blend those together. Just like that. And I am going to take my Golf Course and deepen up that shadow area just a bit. Just kind of like that. So just like that. All right, and that's how I'm going to do all of the rest of those. So in the meantime, until we come back, I will go and finish the rest of these on my own. And when we come back, we'll work on getting the rest of this finished. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give me a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel, and it gives my friends something else to count. And if you have not done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, stay safe, happy coloring, and always remember, spread joy like glitter. Bye, guys.